condemn the killings of Christians and other Africans in Africa by the governing class through their proxies as they try to put pressure on me to do something I would never do, which is sell out. The Prime Minister of, I believe it's the Prime Minister of Italy, her name is Meloni. It's a play on words for me, lone I, and of course I'll never betray God. And on top of that, this is the end of, the Bible, right? There's never a time to play games and to lie about who God chose. That's very immature. I don't know why anyone thinks that they would benefit from that. You think that Pee Wee Herman, if he was alive, could benefit that? Donald Trump? Okay, the rock and roll band Kiss? Do you think that the Italian Prime Minister could benefit? Do you think the LGBT community or the Pope? People don't believe that these people are chosen by God. They believe they're simply elected by people in this world. Now, in regards to Marissa DiNapoli, I believe, certainly in my story playlist there, but I believe it is in my my Marissa and Mello Buckz playlist, where I talked about how Maria Mello's father called me and asked me what race do I think she is. And that came up here, right? That was something that they did well ahead of time. That was like around 97, 98. That's a long time ago, right? 27 years ago or so. And, at first I thought that she was Mexican. And then I thought that she might be Italian. Okay. Now, it's the same with Marissa DiNapoli. When I first saw her picture, I thought that she was Hispanic. But when I saw her last name, I thought that she might be Italian. But it turns out she was from foster care. I don't know her race, just like I don't know Maria Mello's race, right? And that's key here. It also, therefore, connects to the movie Star Wars, right? Because the Skywalker, Horus the Skywalker, right? For those of you who don't know, the Royal African Falcon Martial Art Order is set apart by God to lead all of mankind. Okay, the Bible and the Torah and the Quran, they're just stories made by people to confuse the situation. And the true form of Jesus, the true form of Horus, they're the same thing, and they're not something you're going to see depicted in Egyptian artwork. You're just not going to see it. Even the Narmer palette doesn't cover it. Okay, all the depictions you see of Horus and of Jesus are false. In fact, the word imposter is a play on words for I'm and the second word poster. Now we see that people say all roads lead to Rome. Okay, and English is a Latin-based language. So you see the part where it talks about Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? Obi, for those of you who are confused about how that connects this, right? Kuroi Obi means black belt. Okay, Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? And Obi spelled backwards is Evo. Evo spelled three major ways: one EBO, IBO, and IGBO, where the G is silent. So the word Obi is Ebo spelled backwards, and Obi and Ebo means King Hard Edison Center Temple Core. It should be on the playlist here where I put picture proofs of that. Okay, but I'm sure by now you know that I'm a trustworthy person, okay, who's right about everything, and every once in a while there's some minor insignificant detail I get wrong or something. Okay. And part of the reason why that is I'm fumed and poisoned, and I don't have any fact checkers helping me out, but it never changes the bottom line that I'm right about the things that I talk about. So in one part he says, let her go, Anakin, right? Okay. And that connects to this, where they're trying to make it so, it's like they're trying to make it seem like I magically can't let something go or something, the idea of, what you're missing out, or I'm missing out, right? A mistake, okay. Or, Maria Mello, I've been over her for years and years and years, okay. Or, Marissa herself, the Marissa case, okay. But they did it in anticipation. This is something they did from the start. And notice they also, the person stabbed her in the back, okay. And that's similar to a lightsaber, right? A knife and a light sword are very much part of the Royal African Falcon Martial Art Order, right? Talents and talent, right? The 666 is the mark of the beast versus the Spirit of God. Okay, the Spirit, something, the Spirit. And a spear is like it's like a knife on your arm, right? You know, but it's on a stick instead, right? A spearhead on a stick. Okay, so you can have the spear motion by striking fast, and I struck with the knives as well at world record speed, and I'm sure they edited those videos, and they try to add a fairy look to it, just like they did with my bumper stickers. They just happened to fade toward a fairy looking picture, and they fairy washed and gay washed so many of my videos. I'm pretty sure there's not a single picture or video image of me where I look how I looked at the time when I uploaded it. They've changed all of them. They believe in the fairy tale, right? Luciferian, right? Pharisee, okay? The fair and the occult connection to the fair, right? Gypsies, what have you. Also, in regards to the bird person, I made that video today. There was someone who drove by, and it said on their license plate, it said no bird ego. That was maybe 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago. And I was on, I was on Edmondson, you know, which turns into Tenet, okay, when I saw these two vehicles with some of the most telling license plate I've seen so far. So really quickly, I call for peaceful debates and peaceful discussions. And there's some important message I have about Marissa DiNapoli, and hopefully I'll be releasing that message tomorrow, which is Friday, and I'm making this video on today, which is Thursday. Okay. People need to scramble to the best of their ability and to do what's right to the best of their ability. Okay. And I know some people might be confused if they hear my videos about whether it's fair to be so kind of blunt. You have to really think about the situation. I think it's fair, but for good measure, at times, from time to time, I'd like to say, you know, if I've been too harsh for any reason, or if I've been too offensive in the eyes of God, then I apologize. For good measure, I don't think that it's fair to say that I have been, but I'm going to go ahead and say that, you know. Okay.